so he started this band, and he calls me up and he's like, Kelly, me son, I'd love for you to fucking come down and, and be the vocalist. He was in the middle of an AC/DC record. It was like a 7-year period where they didn't make a record, and he was,
right.
Chomping at the bit to do something. And so I, had the unique perspective of being able to sing his lyrics in this band. Like he wrote these songs that were really should have been used for AC/DC. They were really good. And they were kind of just an indication of just how clever and interesting, his brain is. And he just writes good old school barroom rock lyrics, but they're really different than the lyrics that I would write, so it was a unique perspective. But that's just something that I, being a young person and listening to AC/DC for the first time. I remember 1980 when Brian came into the mix. I was 12 years old. That was a huge record in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? It was a big deal back then. But I always just remembered as I became a musician and I became involved in sort of more sort of complex music. I always looked at them as very, their music's very basic. It's very, very simple. And so I thought, well, these guys must be simple. You know what I mean? I was just young and stupid. And one of the greatest things about meeting Brian was just realizing that there's not really many people on the planet that make me feel more unintelligent than Brian. He's just so smart, man, and he's so well read, and I just wouldn't have expected that from the simplicity of that music. So that was kind of one of the early things that struck me about Brian was just his intelligence. Super smart guy.
Whatever happened to that Big Machine record? Is it just on the shelf? I mean, is it something that they didn't? I mean, I'm guessing they probably wouldn't let them release it,
right?
Or maybe just waiting to release it. I don't know, but yeah, you know what happened to it?
Yeah, I mean, like it's there. Brian has it, and Doug Kay was another guy that's a really good friend of Brian's, who was involved in the project as well. And he owns a label in Tennessee, but they do a lot of Southern hip hop and stuff like that. So he wouldn't be able to, sort of release it on that. We actually, there was a period where we showcased for a lot of labels, and he wanted to try to take it to the house and get it signed. He really loved the way it sounded, and it was really strong. We played some shows together, and me and Brian did a couple songs together, and it was really, he was kind of having a lot of fun just building his own thing, his own baby. And so we went, they invited down some lawyers to the showcase. They really loved it. We packed a club. They invited us up to New York to play at CBGB's for a showcase. So, and the way the record business was then, and even more so now, is youth is everything. So I was maybe, I don't know, I was in my early 30s, something like that. But, the band wasn't 22 years old. So the big consensus was, this is great. We would love this. If this band was 22 years old, we'd sign them right now. So that was then, and that was just a handful of labels. So, but I really feel like, there's any AC/DC fan that heard these songs would love them. And I have more of a Bon Scott quality to my voice than a Brian. But that's like a combination of the two. A little bit of Axl meets Bon Scott, but he was all about it. He really liked it a lot, and we had a lot of fun. We played a lot of shows with that band. But then after that, he ended up having to go back in the studio and make a new record, and then he got busy. And actually, they had some of their biggest moments since then. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and just a lot of things. So business picked up for him with AC/DC again. So he moved on. But those songs I know he still loves, and I love him as well. I just love the opportunity that I got to do it,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, so
that's cool.
So going back to your first meetings with Brian and getting involved with him, I mean, I know a little bit of the backstory, but didn't he just catch you guys, or he saw you guys at a bar, and then basically it was, he wanted to produce you, right? Mm-hmm.
Sorry, he came. We live in the same town, Sarasota, Florida. Mm-hmm. And we were playing my band Neurotica. We're playing a club, not even a club. It was a sandwich shop during the day, and at night they had sort of punk rock and hard rock and metal shows. 70 people it held, maybe tops. They would take the tables out. But Brian, used to go out quite a lot downtown, and so he was with this guy Doug Kay that I mentioned earlier. And they were sitting at another bar, and we were playing, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, you should come see this band. It has this guy Kelly Shaefer in it." And Doug Kay was familiar with me, and my other band is a band called Atheist. It's the band that I'm most famous for, and it's a very extreme metal band. So when Doug K heard that, he thought, oh yeah, we don't need to go see that, And Brian was like, come on, my son, let's go check it out. So we were upstairs with the owner of this sandwich shop, smoking weed actually, as we weren't supposed to be, and we looked down and we see Brian come in. So I immediately gathered the band. I was like, holy shit, he's here. We got to go play like right now, even though we just took a break. And we were playing original stuff, all original music, but we would play all night, play three sets. So we go down there, and literally he's 15 feet in front of us, and we bashed it the fuck out, and just gave it all we had. And so he bought us all a round of beers and asked for a demo tape, and we gave it to him. And then 2 days later, I got a call from Doug K, and said, hey, Brian really likes this, likes the song Two Worlds that we had, and he wants you to come in the studio. So that was it. And then once we did, he gave me a song called Deadly Sin that he wrote. He had written back in the late 80s or whatever. And he was like, take this song, my son, it's fucking give it to the band and, and see what you can do with it. So I took it home immediately. We went to rehearsal and I tuned it down. Like I sort of modernized it because it was really anthemic. It was atypical 80s anthem rock. Yeah. And, we as Neurotica, we were more of a Soundgarden-y kind of, yeah. So I was like, oh, I got to find a way to not piss off the king, and still find my groove. You know what I mean? So I tuned it down on guitar to D, and changed it and made it, shung shung shung. And I brought it back into him, and he was like, "Fucking hell, this is fucking great." And I actually have a version of me and him doing it together. The rewritten way. Yeah. And so I treasured that a lot, But one of the weird things about his voice is he has such a that when you tune the guitars down, he has to sing higher.
Yeah, right.
It was like really fucking hard. And he didn't realize it either. We kind of realized it in the studio together because when has AC/DC ever done a drop D song? Right. And he does all of his vocals on a 58 microphone, which is non-traditional. In the mixing room, in the control room, as opposed to out in the drum room with the headphones and all. He doesn't do any of that. He just does it just like he does on stage in the studio, which is a unique experience to sit in the room with him while he's doing it. All that shit means a lot to me, man. I'm a nostalgic guy, so I treasured all those moments.
Yeah, what did he bring? Like as far as a producer, because I don't think he hasn't produced a whole heck of a lot of stuff. I don't think he's produced anything other besides you guys. You're it.
No. So that's why we were blown away. We were like, because I know as a historian of music, I told the guys in the band, I was like, man, nobody in AC/DC helps anybody. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that they're not collaborators. You won't catch, Angus on somebody else's album, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's ever done that either. Those guys are just in their own world, and they don't, they don't do this, and they don't take the time to produce other people, you know what I mean? They obviously have had a million offers, I'm sure, right, individually to go and produce other people's records. So, yeah, it was a big fucking deal, and I was like, if nothing else, it's just a great opportunity to work with somebody that's, worked with all the greatest producers. And, right out of the gate, he made a big change on a song that we had that ended up being a single on the radio and did really well. And actually is what broke the record on a small level and on radio. And he did it by like completely changing the rules. Like for me, we had this song, we've been playing it live and people were liking it. It was called Easy Speak. And it started like with the guitars, and it took about a minute to get to the chorus. So the first thing he was like, "Kelly, me Sunday, you gotta get right to it." He's like, "I think you should start a song with the acoustic guitar, and you should start with the chorus." And again, I was like, "Oh." It's like start with the chorus. I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, we've been playing the song for a while, kind of attached to it." And he was like, we're gonna be fucking pulling your knickers down on everything, So I was like, all right, man, all right. So we went in and we tried it. And he brought in the guitar that the Everly brothers recorded "Wake Up Little Susie" on. Brought it into the studio for our guitar player Sean to play the acoustic part on. So we were like, holy shit, that's awesome. Really nice guitar, sounded really, really nice. And so he was just that guy, he was like in there. He was in there with us trying to really, it wasn't like he just said, "Oh, I like this band. They're young. I want to look cool. So I'll say I produced their record." He was fucking in the studio with me doing all my vocals. You know, just can't say enough about that experience. There was a time when I had a really bad toothache, like a really bad, I was trying to sing and I was trying not to let him know that I was singing, you know, that I was hurting. But if you've ever had a really bad toothache, the last thing in the world you want to be doing is singing. And I was in so much pain, and he was like, what's wrong with me, son? And I said, I'm fucking, and I was broke. I had no money. And he immediately got on the phone, called the dentist, fixed my tooth for me, and 2 days later, we were back in there doing vocals. But he's just a fucking great guy, man. You know, I love him.
Oh no, that's awesome, man. That's very cool. Do you still see him at all? Have you seen him all recently? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm familiar with Southwestern Florida. I go to Fort Myers every year, a couple times, but I've never been to Sarasota though. But I didn't know how close you guys are to each other. Or...
No, I mean we only live a few miles apart, but yeah, he's just been so busy. I mean, he was doing a TV show. I don't think he spends a lot of time here. You know what's funny about things is there's Brian sightings in town all the time, you know, and I you know, because of COVID this year, I haven't been out a whole lot. I've been trying to stay pretty home, and
right.
I have a small boy and a 15-year-old daughter, and you know, my wife she works nights, so I've been pretty reclusive this year, so I haven't been out to see him, but and I don't think he's been out that much either. But prior to that, I would hear, you know, Brian was here last night, but you know, he likes to go to the Irish bars, but he really can't go anywhere without people just fucking driving him nuts. You know, there's been so many times where he wanted to come see me play. And, you know, people are like, here, they'll hand him cell phones. Like people are very, very rude, you know, I mean, and it gave me a different perspective on what it's like to be that kind of you know, that level of performer, an A-list performer like that. Just everywhere he goes, people are up his ass. And he really, the greatest thing about Brian is he couldn't be any more ordinary than you and I. You know, he just wants to be belly up to the bar, tell some some funny jokes, tell some stories, quote Winston Churchill. You know what I mean? That's Brian. You know, he's the great storyteller. He's a fucking amazing storyteller. And, you know, he just wants to be able to do that in Sarasota, which is a quaint little town. You know, it's a beach town. It's real small, and he used to be able to do that, but you know, over the years, it's just become difficult. But he has his haunts, you know, his places that he can go, and but people really are just like, here, they'll take their phone and stick it right in his face. Say hi to my friend Tom, you know, like, fuck, come on, man. Plus, he's really funny about, like, he has amazing vehicles, you know, and he's just really when he goes to eat, like he pulled up one time in an Aston Martin suede interior, and I owned a smoke shop at the time, and he came in my smoke shop, you know, and he's like, Kelly, come see me car, you know, and I go out to see the car, and it was fucking like, he's got it parked in between like this old Ford truck and a fucking, you know, an old beat up Nissan or something. Here's this $160,000 Aston Martin. Like, I was like, oh my God, man, those doors, someone's going to get in that other car and fucking nick up your car at my shop. I don't want that to happen. So let's move the car somewhere. I was like, go look at it, man. And he did that to one of our shows as well. He pulled in, I don't know, in like a Rolls Royce or something, and in a field, like with grass and trucks and shitty cars all over the place. And this fucking Rolls Royce sitting there. I was like, man, someone's going to run into this thing. You got to go. So, yeah, he's just a really unique person. I treasure the friendship. And
you mentioned before about how Brian's been out of the lyric writing process now for a while, and that happened you know, with the Razor's Edge pretty much on, and I really wish he was still writing the lyrics, because I mean, I think that's,
yeah, me too.
That's really kind of sorely lacking in AC/DC songs. Is it's Angus kind of just plays the rhyme game, especially now. It's like, I don't even know what any of this means. Like, it just,
yeah, it's a ton of cliches, and yeah, it's not clever in any way. But, and you know, for Brian, it's probably kind of frustrating a little bit, you know, because he is a clever guy. He's got a great vocabulary, and so it must be a little strange for him to have to you know. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's just grateful he got his hearing back.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't know a whole lot, and not a whole lot's been said about how he has how they kind of you know, took him out of the writing process, whatever. And I'm sure it had to do with royalties or something along those lines. And there was stuff kind of alluded to, like, you know, where he got some kind of this was in another AC/DC book where he, you know, they settled later. Like, he ended up getting, like, they paid him on the back end for all the money he lost. by not being,
Yeah.
But did you hear anything about that? Or I mean, I don't know if he was, or if it's in the air.
So it's my understanding that the brothers were pretty much dictators, in that band, and no matter what worth Brian had in the band, I think that push comes to shove, if you were to be having some scotch with Brian on a cold windy night by yourself, that he would tell you, yeah, those guys really, they kept it in the Young family, so to speak, and he was always an outsider on the financial level. Not that they didn't take care of him, but I feel like, it's Brian's friend. I don't know if he would be mad at me about saying that, but that's my perspective. It's not something he told me, but from hearing the stories of his frustration and in the period of time where he was at home and it was taking forever for them to do a new record, that was when we spent a lot of time together. I would go to his house and we would drink together. We did a lot of things together. So that was my feeling, was like the brothers really were dictators. And then so it makes sense it would fall in line that they probably decided from a business perspective, that's 50% of publishing is the lyrics, you know what I mean? So to give away 50% of your business to some new guy is how they always, and there's, Bon has always been in my opinion, as an AC/DC fan, I always feel like the brothers never really, and mainly Angus, always speaks about Bon in such a grand level. I've never felt that about Brian from him. Maybe I'm dead wrong, but just in interviews and stuff like that, I always feel like Brian is not given the respect that he's owed, and he certainly didn't get the financial respect that he was owed in the early, Back in Black. I mean, one of the second largest record ever or something like that. So I think in retrospect, I hope they took care of him. I mean, Brian lives a pretty nice life, so I think he's doing well. But that that publishing is worth $1 billion.
Oh yeah, no
easily.
Doubt.
If Dylan's shit is worth 600 million or 300 million, then the AC/DC catalog has to be worth over $1 billion. That publishing. So that's a lot of goddamn money. And when you get to 70, you think, oh, hey, not going to be able to spend this shit. So you start looking at it for your family and, just things like that. So, but, again, I'm speculating, it was just my perception of hearing him over the years talk about, the AC/DC stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of that's it's more kind of well known now. There's a guy, a buddy of mine who's an author. He's written a couple AC/DC books. His name's Jesse Fink. He wrote one called The Youngs, which is pretty much about George, Malcolm, and Angus, and he's talking to all the people that were associated with them through the years, and just how kind of cutthroat they were, and how kind of like just brutal they were. Like they're a tight clan, and that's it. And like there's no.
Yeah, I mean, look at what they did to Brian when he lost his hearing. I mean,
right. Yeah, I was going to ask about that as well too.
Well, I feel like I can talk about it because Jim Brewer kind of blew it out of the water. And
oh yeah, I got to talk about that. I got to tell you too. But yeah, go.
Oh my God! So I was at Brian's 60th birthday party here in town, and he and Jim Brewer was there, and it was a really cool party. It was amazing, and and I guess Brian had Brian had maintained a relationship with him for quite a while, but Brewer was in town doing a comedy skit. He stayed, and everybody that comes to town that's famous kind of stays with Brian a lot of times. Robert Plant and Brian are like really good friends. And so he comes to town all the time. And so people freak out here in town because they'll be at like Whole Foods and literally see two kings of rock, like, man, Brian Johnson picking through tomatoes in the fucking produce section. Not something you see every day. So, but I guess he was with Brian when they shipped his shit back from the tour.
Yeah.
And that was I just think that's so disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, and not only on a business level, but on a personal level, he's such a nice man. He's such a respectful man. It's such a great part of AC/DC at this point. Like, how do you do that? How do you just send his shit back, and there you go. I guess you're out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've just been out on tour, and next thing you know, Axl's in a band. It just, man, Axl did a fantastic job, and I'm sure Brian's over it because he's that kind of guy. He ain't going to sit around and wallow in it. Is what it is. He was grateful always to have that gig. That's one of the great things about him as well, is he never forgot where he came from. I remember him giving me a card with his upholstery company on it, and it's him riding in a car and his head sticking out of out of the sunroof with that Brian cap on, and it says Johnson Upholstery. I think it was called. He still hangs on to his business cards when he was doing upholstery. For fuck's sake, the guy's a fucking icon. Like
the thing with Brewer, it was crazy. I wanted to interview. I've interviewed Jim a number of times because I do an entertainment magazine for a daily newspaper, here in Northeast Ohio, and so every time Brewer came through, I talked to him, whatever. So I plugged a bunch of his shows, and I met him, and he's a super nice guy. Well, he has a podcast. Well, he did a podcast, whatever, and he was talking about this. It was right after Brian got his stuff sent home, and Brewer was like, he told the whole story on his podcast, right? So I'm sitting there listening to this podcast, whatever. It's like 2 a.m. I just got off work, whatever, like that. I'm listening to this, and I'm like, holy shit! Like the way it kind of went down, and I'm like, well, I gotta write about this. So I ended up writing about it. I sent off an email to Brewer and his manager. I'm like, hey, look, I don't know if you guys realize what he's saying here, but he's gonna get flood. I'm gonna run this story. And I'm gonna make it as nice as I can to where it's not because it's gonna.
Brian was pissed. Yeah.
Because by the next day, everybody's gonna hear this anyway, and it's gonna be like, oh shit. So I'm gonna try to do this first, whatever. Well, it didn't matter because I did that, whatever, and yeah, the shit hit the fan, and Brewer's like,
yeah,
oh my god, and I'm sure he told this the whole story, and I was like, oh boy. So
yeah, from what I understand, Brian was very pissed off, and I'm not sure that they're friends anymore as a result of that. Brian's very, he's definitely. There was a time when he first started producing our record that Gianni Versace got shot. Mm-hmm. And that was in that same time period. So he came to the studio that day and, expressed, that was a really heavy thing. And it's really crazy how somebody, you can just be walking up to your door. 2 days later, he came in the studio and someone had heard that it was a local band. Mm-hmm. Someone had heard that he was producing our record and they felt like they needed to get him their record. And he had his groceries in his hand because Brian literally shops himself and he has his groceries and he's trying to get in his door and this guy's running up the driveway that he doesn't know. Mm. And he goes, oh, and he scared the shit out of him. This was right on the heels of Versace getting shot. And, we're in Florida. It's this crazy thing. And it was just and he told him about Neurotica. And that's when, Brian asked me to keep it quiet. Mm. You just keep it quiet around here. We're going to do big things and we're going to do all these things, but around here, he's like, I can't have people just running up my driveway, trying to hand me their demo tapes. And I said, I understand. I said, I actually haven't told anybody yet. So I don't know who told anybody, but it was, obviously hard not to tell. I told my family, but yeah, it's just, that was a crazy thing. But, I think Brewer being there when that happened, he probably should have known better than to tell that story on a podcast. I mean, I'm very cautious about what I'm saying to you because I have so much respect for Brian too. Sure. And I'm a talker, I'm a chatter, I'm a story guy as well. So, if please don't let me be unflattering to Brian in any way because I love him. I love him and he's a super important person in my career. And not anymore, he doesn't affect my career, but he was, he means a lot to me. And I certainly would never want to be anything but, because he's been nothing but amazing to me. I don't have anything bad to say about this guy. He's just a really high quality human being,
But I was talking to Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho's he's like, people forget that Brian Johnson is the singer in AC/DC. He's like, we forget that.
He makes you forget.
This is the
he makes you forget that,
people forget, it was just crazy. It's the second biggest album of all time in the world, and people forget that he's a singer,
And it's literally because of the way he is. And if you spent 10 minutes with him, you'd see. He has just a way of making you feel important. I remember they played a Tampa show. I'd never seen AC/DC live. They played a Tampa show. I was there with my, with some people or something, and people that didn't know him. Of course, he set us up backstage. I just watched him do this amazing show. I was just blown away. So we're backstage waiting for them to shower and come back. He comes in and there's a room full of people backstage. There's got to be 100 people back there. And there's a lot of famous people, a lot of writers, a lot of this. Kelly, me son, no, the fucking, what do you think of that? You know, he couldn't wait to come to me and see what I thought, musician to musician. Like, first of all, why do you give two shits about anything that I think, you know, like he wanted to know how he did. Yeah. I'm like, how did you do? Like, you fucking kidding me, man? I just watched you rock balls for fucking 2 hours, man. I said, I'm blown away, man. I said, I've always been an AC/DC fan. I've just watched you. I've never, you know, had the pleasure of seeing you in a live setting and, you know, knowing you the way I know you now and just watching it, you're an incredible man. I mean, that is, I told him, I said, I don't think at, you know, however old I was at the time that I could pull that long of a set off, you know, and he was like, you know, there's guitar solos and, you know, I fucking step back and they go, fucking oxygen tank, you know, I said, yeah, I don't have any oxygen tanks on my, in my club tour. But yeah, just, you know what I mean? Like who does that? You know, no snottiness, no elitist bullshit, you know, and I've often told people I've met local musicians that have more fucking attitude than Brian Johnson has.
Yeah, no, man, he's like I said, by all accounts, and everybody I talked to him, he's an incredible guy. Jesse James Dupree from Jackal had a couple of great stories with him too. I know he's friends with him, and
really good friends. You know, if I can tell you one more personal thing, one of my favorite things that I will tell my kids when they get older is, you know, Brian opened a really old bottle of scotch one time, and we sat out back at his house, just me and him, and he made me drink the scotch. And I'm definitely not a scotch guy. It was like really, really harsh and hard to drink, but it was this really old, expensive bottle, and it's Brian. So, you know, so I was like, all right. So I sat out there, and we got pretty fucking sloshed, and you know, he's telling me, he's like, Kelly, listen, you know, when I fucking heard your voice, you reminded me of Bun. You know, I always wanted to fucking tell you that your voice has a similar timbre as Bun. So here I am thinking, in all my sort of buzzness, thinking, why can't somebody else be here to hear Brian Johnson tell me, a nobody, you know, fucking some singer kid from Florida, that I remind him of fucking Bond. Like, get the fuck out of here. No one will ever believe that story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So, yeah, I got to leave you with that, man. That's just, you know, that's how great that guy makes you feel. Like, you know, get the fuck out of here. Like, you've heard everybody on the, you know, in the world sing. You know, he always had such funny stories that always blew my mind, like Tipper Gore. And Tipper Gore came with a group of people against their, you know, their music and at one of their concerts. And Brian tells the story that he was standing in the parking lot smoking because he wasn't allowed to smoke in the building, and he was standing, as he tells it so much better, but I hope he tells it to some magazine somewhere along the line. But he was literally standing next to Tipper Gore smoking a cigarette, and she didn't know it was him. And he's listening to her direct these people, these volunteers, to try to picket their concert, you know, and it's just fucking hilarious, man. You know, I mean, he's just such an interesting person, you know. I mean, I would just sit and listen. Like one time he was coming back for New Year's Eve, and the plane got stuck, and he invited the entire crew, the pilot, all the you know, the flight attendants, everybody back to his house for New Year's Eve, and all of Neurotica, and you know, a handful of other friends. So now we're all at Brian Johnson's house. At the end of the year, we had just finished the record. It was already mixed and out, and it was on the radio. And so the radio played, the last song of the year was an AC/DC song, and the first song of the new year was a Neurotica song. And we're fucking clicking glasses, and he has like a British pub in his house with like, you know, it's like literally a British pub with like pictures of him and John Belushi and pictures of him and Arnold. And, you know, it's just like a pub you would go into, except it's fucking a Brian pub. And you know, we're cheersing about this new, you know, oh man, you know, and it's, you know, I was just on fucking cloud nine, you know, like, how did I end up here? You know, on New Year's Eve, I'm at Brian Johnson's house with, you know, we're listening to our song on the radio, and he produced it, and it was just amazing. But can I tell you that those people, those fucking assholes from that airline, did damage to his house.
Really? Gee, what the fuck?
Yeah, they partied so hard that they damaged some of the, I think, a piece of art that he had in there, really, because he collects art. And yeah, what a bunch of fucking bullshit. But still, I'm sure he would still invite another entire plane full of you know, crew members, because they were going to be stuck at New Year's at family, and he didn't want them to be stuck at some hotel. So it was like, come to me house, you know. And that's just, again, you know, in closing, that's the kind of guy that is, you know, that no matter how many millions of records he sold, you know, he's far more you know, warm and endearing than anybody would ever imagine.